Jared is sussing out that little sandy road over there. We shall see. That's where he wants to get to, down there. Might be a bit sandy and we might fall off the bike, but we'll see.
So this is the byway that I found. Tempting, but it is soft sand. We might just get pretty stuck into this. I mean, it isn't really soft. Part of me thinks it's doable, and it is doable. But just here, sort of thing you can get your back tyre into, and then before you know it, you've dug a hole that you can't get out of. Still, extremely tempting. But I think on balance, I'll give it a miss. It is pretty soft. All the weight that we're putting down, and we haven't really got the right tyres for it. They're only about 20% off-road. Gravelly track's fine, only just though. Even gravelly track's a bit dodgy. I think the soft sand is probably a no-no. But there seems to be a lovely beach here. We'll go and have a look. There are people walking right out onto the low tide mud. I suspect they're fishing for cockles and mussels maybe. I'm not quite sure what for. There's some people way out there. Looking at about half a mile away, I would say. And other people are a bit closer. I think our next stop will be Marsh Lane on the western side of the Wash.
So we're not far away from the Queen's holiday home, or one of her many homes, Sandringham Estate. This may well be part of it, not quite sure. This is Bramside, there we go, yeah, Sandringham, to the left. Up there. Sandringham is a royal residence. It stands in a 20,000 acre estate in the Norfolk coast area of outstanding natural beauty. It was purchased in 1862 for $220,000 for Albert Edward, Prince of Wales, later Edward VII, as a country home for him and his future wife, Princess Alexandra of Denmark. Between 1870 and 1900, the house was almost completely rebuilt in a style described as frenetic Jacobean. Following his death in 1910, the estate passed to Edward's son and heir, George V, who described the house as "dear old Sandringham, the place I love better than anywhere else in the world." It was the setting for the first Christmas broadcast in 1932. George died at the house on 20th of January 1936, and the estate passed to his son Edward VIII. And at his abdication, as the private property of the monarch, it was purchased by Edward's brother, George VI. George was as devoted to the house as his father, writing to his mother, Queen Mary, "I have always been so happy here, and I loved the place." When he died in 1952, Sandringham passed to his daughter Elizabeth II. The Queen spent about 2 months each winter on the estate. In 1957 she broadcast her first televised Christmas message from Sandringham. In the 1960s, plans were drawn up to demolish the house and replace it with a modern building, but these were not carried out. Unlike the royal palaces owned by the Crown, such as Buckingham Palace, Holyrood Palace and Windsor Castle, Sandringham, along with Balmoral Castle in Scotland, is owned personally by the monarch. In 2022, following the death of Queen Elizabeth II, Sandringham was passed to her son, Charles III. It's open to the public, so you can have a look around if you want. So this is King's Lynn. We've had to come inland to get over the great river Ouse. South gate. Gateway to King's Lynn. So hopefully we're approaching the bridge. Yeah, this is the old bridge over the Great Ouse. There we go. King's Lynn. New bridge. So this is probably Sutton Bridge going over the River Nene. So that was Sutton Bridge over the River Nene.
The coast around the Wash is almost entirely wild marsh or agricultural, and there are no coastal roads or settlements. We stuck to our mission and rode as close to the coast as we could, but it was rarely in sight, and we still had to ride inland to get around the rivers. Here we're riding back down the River Nene, having ridden up the other side just a moment ago. We're now in Lincolnshire. Having looked at the map beforehand, we found a track that got as close as possible to the middle western side of the Wash, Marsh Lane. On our way, we experienced some great roads and countryside. My advice to other UK adventurers is to get off the beaten track and discover places that haven't already been popularised. So we made it to the Wash. Don't expect too much. I think it's low tide. It's still very impressive though. You can just see the water in the distance and some sandy sort of beaches. Not sure how often it comes up this far, but it clearly does on the higher tides. Gets to come up to here. It's an old little sort of jetty like thing there. And you've got out there some shipping, and beyond some orange lights, which I wonder if that is actually flame from maybe a gas place or something like that. Maybe I've got that wrong, I don't know. I'll zoom in. See that? Signing off.
We've just come down Marsh Lane, which is down there, and we're just doing a bit of exploring. We're not sure what that is. We think it might be a bird hide, but we're not sure. And Jared seems to remember some kind of RAF thing out here, so we'll have a look. As you can imagine, the Wash is a haven for wildlife. It is also used for RAF air weapons training. When we got here, the most bizarre thing happened. We'd hardly seen a soul in this deserted area, and certainly no other travellers. We pulled up, and there was the first one, a van lifer. We got chatting and quickly realised a coincidental connection. She lived in the same small cul-de-sac on the estate where my mum lives, back in North Somerset. What are the chances? We loved the way she said she was on her way to Scotland. To appreciate our reaction, just Google map anywhere in North Somerset to Scotland. She couldn't have been further off the route without going in the opposite direction. Unexploded bombs and dangerous missiles, Ministry of Defence, Air Force Department. Risk of fire. Lots of public footpaths, so that's nice. And we're risk of fire high today. And there we go, a bit more of the Wash. We were over there, and now we've come here. Not quite sure what that is out there, but two boats and the orange markers. Something to do with the RAF. Fascinating area. Can hear lots of warblers chirping. On our way back, we took the fellow travellers' advice and visited the medieval church at Gedney, St Mary Magdalene. Like many of the churches in these parts, it is way grander than the small village it serves. This one in particular is renowned for its large size in the surrounding low-lying landscape and is known as the Cathedral of the Fens.
There you have it. A lot of lovely windows. St Mary Magdalene, Gedney.
So we got into the village of Gedney, where the lady we met, Mandy, near the wash in the red van, who's basically living the van life, said, well, there's this church that's more like a cathedral in a village nearby. And here it is, Mary Magdalene Church in Gedney. It's the Gedney's Parish Church. And she's quite right, it is like disproportionate to the size of the village. Lots of windows, and they're not stained glass, interestingly enough, they're clear windows, which means there's going to be a lot of light in here. Let's have a look. Hello.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Gedney.
Thank you. So why is it so big?
It's so big because, well, it was a statement really from as like so many churches in this area, it was, if you like, an entry to heaven for local landowners and dignitaries who had the money to put up enormous churches like this. And the roof,
Yeah.
in the clear story,
Yeah.
we suspect, we're not quite sure, but we think that was the planks in the roof timbers were in the former roof, which was up at the
Okay.
former level before the clear story was raised.
And were repurposed.
And were repurposed, and of course they mixed and matched
Yeah.
with older planks with new ones.
And even time hasn't kind of
It's got that mottled effect.
it's still got it, hasn't
Yeah.
it? You know,
Yeah.
they're all
Quite
aging it.
attractive.
Yeah. So that struck me when I came in. And although it's obviously a pity the stained glass windows or the painted windows have gone now, it does make it rather
Yeah.
unique and different when you walk
It
in.
is very different from most of the surrounding churches.
Yeah. So the church warden. So I didn't get your name.
Sorry?
But you're-
My name's William Webb.
William.
I've been church
Was it?
warden here for, well, I'm not quite sure, 29 years, I think.
Yeah. It's explaining the stained glass windows, or they were painted windows, Victorian painted windows. And then in 1941, a German bomber came down nearby, only a few hundred yards away, carrying a load of landmines, and it exploded. And all the windows, virtually all the windows in the church were blown out, except for the odd few that you can see, normally the smaller ones, and then replaced with these. The window at the end, which is a stained glass window,
Known as a Jesse window.
a Jesse window. The locals picked up all the pieces and then meticulously pieced it back together after the war. It's quite something, really.
So the warden in the church we've just been to said that lots of the villages around here have got very large churches, and here's another one. We're in Lincolnshire now.
This was our 8th day and final destination for this stage of the coast adventure. On our way home, we had another night camping, which made 8 consecutive nights, beating our daughter's prediction by 6 nights. We are hoping to make some improvements to our filming equipment and techniques before returning for the next stage in the adventure, the North East Coast. We hope you're enjoying this series. If you like what we're doing, then please give us the thumbs up and feel free to leave a comment. Subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. See you next time.